How about you stop typing. You stop typing. You completely just stop typing.
Oops. Okay. What about now? Anybody hear me? Guess not. I've got a sound problem. Desktop audio. What about this one?
No.
Is it supposed to be?
No. We don't want that.
Okay, we're just fixing the sound.
It should be on. I don't. It should.
Okay. I'm not sure. Anybody else having a problem? Can anybody else? Oh, somebody's got sound now.
Yeah, but does it sound echoey? Because now it's got 2 microphones gone.
Okay, I don't want to start until everybody's got sound, so give me a thumbs up when you've got the sound. Thumbs up?
How many thumbs up?
Okay, Rachel's got sound. Sonia, you've got sound now? Okay. Let me know if you got the sound. I don't want. Oh, okay. So Sonia's got it now. So that means everyone's got it. Yes, I hope so. Right, let's go. I'm so happy to do this. Okay. First of all, we're going to have some fine details. So we're going to do the surfboards first. So if you've got a very small brush, I would suggest you use it. But if you have a small angled brush like this, it's also useful for the shape of the surfboards. So I would make sure you get your brush wet a little bit first and dampen it on your paper. And then I'm going to make a brown for those that don't have brown. Okay, so if you do not have a regular brown, which I have here, I'm going to show you how to make one quickly. So I'm going to take a little bit of black to one side and some red, oops, and a little bit of yellow, a bit more yellow. What you have to keep doing is going until you get to a nice brown. Okay, so that was pretty easy. So I'm now at a brown. So it's the red, little bit of black, red, and yellow, and you should get to a brown. So hopefully everybody's managed that. Okay, so I'm flattening the side of this angled brush like so, but if you've got a small brush, again, just roll it so you've got a nice edge. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to shape out our surfboards. So that's how we're going to start this one. Now with the surfboards, you can see they're a certain size on this one. I may make them a little bit bigger, but if you want to, it might be easier just to mark out how high you want to go. Like this is the same size as this, but obviously I'm not sitting at the same angle. So I'm going to start the first one, probably, I'm going to go up to about here. So I would say just over halfway, a little bit further up. Put a little dot where you want the top of your surfboard and the bottom of your surfboard. And so try and get them obviously level. If you've got another brush, you can obviously test that out, see if you're level. I might not be perfect, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just round out the top of my surfboard a little bit. And then I'm going to come down. Now, the other thing that I would suggest is actually maybe, if you don't want it too wide, is maybe put a dot also each side in the middle there so that you can have a guide to how you want to shape it. So I'm going to come all the way down like so, and I'm not going to put it right down into the dot there because the sand is actually coming right up to the bottom of the surfboard. You can always fix this if you've not got a straight line, don't worry about that. And then I'm coming down. I'm using my little finger to actually angle myself so that I, get a straight, wobble in there. And then I can come in at an angle like that. So that's my first surfboard drawn out. I've got to get a little bit more water now and a little bit more paint. So again, I'm flattening those sides of this brush. And then I'm going to, now I'm going to make the little middle one a little bit wider. So again, what I'm doing here is where I want the middle of my surfboard, I'm going to put that one a little bit higher up. So I'm going to put it there. And then the other side, might be easier just to measure out that side first. So you know how wide you want your surfboard. And then, for instance, this one, I'm going to make it just a little bit taller, like so. And just so I know where I'm coming to at the bottom, I'm putting a little dot there. So you can't see what I'm doing close up, so I've just basically put a dot so that I know how to connect and make the shape. The shape might be, this is probably the most difficult part of the whole video. Why have I gone on that? Yeah. Okay, so again, rounding out the top. This might be easier with a small brush. I'm going to round out just the very top edge a little bit first. And then I'm going to come down to that one like so. And then I'm going to round all the way down to this one, because this one's a bit bigger, remember, than the other one. And I'm going to come down all the way to that one. And then all the way down to there. So I'm not doing the very bottom, as I said, because the sand's going to come up. It's digging into the sand, so not a problem. Yes. Yeah. Okay. My technical director daughter's leaving now, so I'll say see you later. She'll come back and finish me off at the end, so hopefully there's no issues if you hear me shouting. Okay, so that's the two surfboards done. I'm going to start with this. I'm going to do the next one maybe as a smaller one again, maybe a little bit less in size than that one. So again, I'm going to mark out where I want it. Just here, I'm coming a little bit lower because this one's going to be shorter. I'm going to put a dot that side. So you can see again, I'm putting the dot each side. That's probably not very level, that one. And then I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter. So I'm putting the dot there and there. I know this is probably, as I said, the worst part of what we're doing today for getting everything in shape. So again, I'm just going to give a little shape at the top before I put my brush back into the paint. And then I'm going to slowly come down. I'm trying not to lean my hand in the paint. So I'm leaning my little finger on that side. I don't know if you can see where my little finger is. It's leaning right in the middle of that surfboard. That steadies my hand. So if you can do that, great. If you can't, no worries. You can just freehand it. Oops, gone out a little bit on that one. Okay, so, all right, I've got my shapes. Okay, I'm going to wait for everybody to catch up. Okay, Sabina, no problem. Sabina's just catching up. So I will take this time to just wait for everybody to get their surfboard shapes done or rearrange them or whatever you need to do. So Sabina, you're just going to have to give us a shout as to where you are. We're just using, I'm using a brown. If you don't have a brown, Sabina, you can make one with black, red and yellow. And we're outlining the surfboard shapes. And we're putting a dot each side so we can get an even shape, and one at the top and one at the bottom, so we can get that oval shape the best we can. And that's the first part done. We're still going to stick with brown though. So if you've got that brown made, and I'm using my made brown. In fact, I looked at the brown that I had, and it's the same. So, you know, if you don't have a brown, you can see that my made brown, my already made brown, as in out of a tube, and my made brown is the same colour. So, top tip there, you don't actually need to buy a brown, but if you've got one, obviously it makes it easier. So the next step, I'm going to do the fence. You may think that this is an odd way round from what we've done before, but you know what? This is the way I've worked it out, that it's going to be the easiest way for everybody to do it. And also you'll use less paint this way, so you can save some for the next time. I'm going to make, put a little bit more water in with my brown so it's not too dark. If it does come out dark, so we're going to do the fence next. Then you can add a little bit of white tone to it here and there. Not a problem. So I want to wait until all my brown is actually dry anyway. This is a very quick drying paint if you've not used acrylic before. If you put it on very thickly, then it is going to take a while to dry. But if you put it on very sparingly, it dries almost immediately. So be aware of that. So mine's very dry now, as you can see. I'm getting no paint on my hand. So I'm going to have the little fence behind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to level out my side posts first. So I'm going to come over just a little bit here, probably about there. And again, I'm leaning my hand on the canvas to make a straight line. And I'm coming down just to reach the bottom of the line here. This one's going a little bit low, but I'm not too worried about that. Like so. And then I'm bringing that over to the surfboard. Obviously in line again, I'm bringing it between the surfboard there, and all the way off at the end. And voila, got that bit done. I'm not going to actually draw a line at the bottom because we want that to be a rough line because the sand is going to be up there into it. So I'm going to leave that. But what I am going to do with the brown, I'm going to add a little bit of black. So again, if you haven't already got a little bit of black on your plate or whatever you're using today, just get a little bit of black. And again, you can use the same brush, it's not a problem. I'm using the same little angled brush here. I'm making these lines down, so the fence panels basically. So again, this is, you know, it doesn't have to be any particular size, but I'm just going to make a panel line down there. I'm going to make one here. So it depends on how wide you want your panels as to how you do them. I'm just going to show them through here. I might not bother doing any more in there. I'll show another one in the middle here. And then I get a bit more paint. And I'll do another one over here. And another one at the end. That's depending on, you know, you do whatever you want to, of course, and however many you want to, whatever you can fit in. So I'll wait for you all to catch up because I know lines are not easy to do, are they, when you've got to really concentrate on getting it straight. But you know what? If it's not straight, it really doesn't matter because, you know, it's a fence. Fences can be like, you know, odd shapes, etc. They don't have to be perfect. Which isn't that wonderful that it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, with my fence, as I said, I'm going to add just a touch. And when I say a touch, just a little corner on my brush. I'm going to add a little bit of white to my brown because I don't want the fence to be too dark. It's going to be sort of a lighter brown. So again, if you want it to be a little bit different tone, you know what, you can do the fence whatever colour you like at the end of the day. So making it a little bit lighter means that you'll still see the black lines underneath. So that's why I've added a little bit of white to that. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I can, but I think I'm going to add a little bit more white so that I can see it even more. If you actually add quite a lot of water to the brown mixture you've got, it will go a little watery, a bit like watercolour, or maybe you're using watercolour. And if you do that, you'll get more of a very soft tone going when you do your fence. So I'm going to use this one again. I might switch my brush at some stage. So we're just going around the surfboards now. And when you get to the bottom, just leave a rough edge. Not a straight edge, just a rough one. I'm going to add a little bit more water now. I know if any younger children are with us today, which I know there are, this is probably the most difficult bit. So everything else is going to be a piece of cake. Of course, this is probably a piece of cake for you anyway. I'm sure you're all great at this. And if I am going too fast, please give me a shout. Just say something on the chat there, because I don't want to leave anybody behind. But you can go and watch this, re-watch this, or stop it and carry on a bit later. So it's not a big deal if you do miss something. But it's nice for you to join me and keep me company while I'm doing it, rather than later. Okay, so and one thing you can do, even if you've got your fence quite dark brown, you can go over it with some different tones, like a little bit of white or reddish tone or something, just to break up the dark brown of it if you've got it too dark. As you can see, I'm still seeing the panel black that I put down. Bring it a little closer. You can still see the black lines in between there. I'm just bringing that bit a little bit down because I notice it's not awfully straight on my fence. So I'm just bringing that side a little bit further down, like so. Again, I'm just making that a rough edge at the bottom. So I'm just like getting a dry brush and getting it a little bit rough at the bottom. So that's the first part of the painting. Is everybody keeping up okay? Hopefully you can all hear me now. Anybody having a problem? Of course you can't hear me saying that, so if you are having a problem, not good, but hopefully there's no problem. So, do want to say, while you're still doing the fence, or if you're still doing the fence, excitingly, as you can see on my surfboards here, I've got my own designs, but I have some designs here that you can follow if you want to, or you can make your own design up. You can do your surfboards any colour you want, flowers, stars, waves, anything you like. So whatever you want to. Okay. Is all good, Sonia? Catching up? Sabina? Hopefully. Just let me know. So my next step, once you've got the fence done, is going to be the sky. So we're going to do the sky next. You will want to wash off your brush in your water. Just give it a little wish-wash in the brush, and on your paper just wipe it off so it's a little bit cleaner if we use it again. So I'm wiping off now the rest of the browns off, because the paint sits right up into the bit here, so you have to give it a good wipe off. I'm going to a larger brush for the sky, which is it's an angle brush, chisel brush, whatever you want to call it. I find that's easier to get better lines with. So, but if you've got any flat brush will do, so no worries there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just wet that brush, dab it again back on my paper, and I'm going to grab some blue. like so, and some white. So I don't want my blue too dark, but I'm going to start with a darker blue, as you can see in the top, and I'm going to graduate it down to the sea line. And when I get to the sea line, it's quite light, so there's hardly any blue on that at all. So I think the best thing for us to do in this stage is actually mark out the sea line first before we start the sky. So I'm going to go to about the same as that, so which is about a third of the way. Yeah, about a third of the way down. And I'm going to go straight across, line across, best you can. If you can do it straight, great. Again, I'm using my hand here to lean on the canvas so I can get a straight line. Always helps when you've got something to steady your hand. So I'm just going straight across, like so. Doesn't matter if the line's not a perfect line because we're going to be painting into that, so no worries there. So that's the first step. Lost some brushes. Okay, so now I'm going to start my sky. I'm going to make my sky a little bit darker because I just realised that's quite a light colour. I'm going to head off with some almost straight blue, but when I do this, I do need a little bit more water to get it going. So a little bit more. Whenever you get some water on your brush, just remember to put your brush back in your paint mixture before you put it on. Because if you put your brush in the water and then go straight to the canvas, what you might get is drips. You don't want any drips. If you get those, just get a piece of paper quick and wipe it up. So I think that's a pretty colour. I like that colour. I'm not putting any more blue on my brush though at this stage because I want to graduate the colour down. So all I'm going to do now is grab white and I'm going to just blend that in. So when I say blend, just go over the line a little bit. You can go back up into that blue if you want to and go backwards and forwards, and you see it's getting a little bit lighter now. You might want to, at this stage, rub a bit of blue off if you've got too much on your brush, which is what I've just done, because now I don't want a lot of blue. So I've just picked up white. There will be still blue on your brush at some point because it kind of sits in the bristles. So I'm just picking up white. I'm going backwards and forwards, right down to that line. But I'm going to, as I said, I just want to leave it quite light. You know what? As well, this is your painting. If you want to make it a different colour blue, dark blue, whatever, this is, you know, you don't have to do what I do. I'm just giving you a guide to show you what you can do. And later stage, if you want to put clouds in the sky, you can put clouds in the sky, so no problem. If I actually press quite hard on my brush, what's happening, you see, is that blue that's sitting up in the brush is coming off. I don't mind it coming off though. It sort of gives the sky a streaky look, which is fine. Doesn't have to be perfect. So coming quite up, right up to the line there, like so. Right up to that line. Right. Perfect. A lovely summer's day. Which actually now at least the sun has come out today, which is nice. Because hopefully it's nice and bright for you to see, because I've got the window right next to me here. As I said, you can go back in. I would wait until this is completely dry. If you want to go put some clouds in at the end, that's fine. But you've got to remember, I'm putting in a kite here, so I'm probably not going to put any clouds in. But if you want to, you can. And that's something you can do at the end. That's not a problem. So for my sea, I want that to be a greenish colour rather than blue, because I want it to be slightly different from my my sky. So if you've got a green already, great. I've got what we call a mid-green, which if you have our paints, it's just a straight green here. If you do not have a green, you can make a green, of course, with your blue and yellow. When you make it, though, we're going to add white because it's quite a strong colour. So here, of course, it's a little bit darker, but then I'm getting a little bit lighter as I come in. I'm not going to wash the blue off of this brush, though. So if you've got a big brush and you've got a little bit of blue on it, don't worry about it because it's not, it doesn't matter if you get a little bit of blue in there. So I'm going to grab some white, first of all. I'm going to grab a little bit of that green that I showed you. And actually, I'm not going to grab too much with the white, first of all, because I want to see how dark it comes out. Sometimes it comes out darker on the actual canvas than it is on the palette. So I'm going to try that out. Let's see how dark it is. Is it as dark as I want it? No. So I'm going to actually grab some green again. Let's see how dark that is. I could still go a little bit darker, I think. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue with my green so that I can start off a bluish green and then get lighter. So I've added a little bit of blue to that. And I'm going to go along, a bit more water. And I'm going to go along that edge like so. You can take your time. It's not. So I do want that a bit darker. Now, I do want to see everybody's paintings after this, so please post them on social media or on our website. On our Facebook page. Because, everybody's is different, which I love, because I love to see all the different, I do want to see all the different surfboard designs that you've done. Because that's the fun bit, right? We're going to leave that bit till last as well, So just think about it. Until we get there, I want you to all think about what you want to do with your surfboards. I'm going to do some different ones to these, just so I can show you some different designs. I've got a really fun fish one, so you might want to try that one out. That one's gone a little bit more blue or green, but actually I think it's a really pretty colour. So if you like the blue-green, just add a bit more blue in with your green, and as well as your white, and you will get that lighter tone. A little bit dark there. I think it's a very pretty colour, this aqua, when you mix the blue with the green. Comes out really just where we'd like to be now, right? Right at the beach. Let's hope we can get there this summer. I feel confident we will. Might be a bit tricky going between the surfboards, but what I would do is actually get your brush and go between the surfboards first before you get up to them. And then you can always sort of go over it a little bit so that it's got a straight line instead of. But if you want your water rough, because obviously it's surfboards, we're going to have, you can make the waves a bit bigger, etc. Because surf's up, we're all going surfing, right? Yes, ladies, even you, we're all going surfing today. Going to learn a new skill. Why not? That's what I say. Oops, I need a little bit more water. So don't forget, if your brush isn't, your paint's not going on nice and neat, just grab a little bit more water, put it back into your paint, and try it again. If you go too watery, that means you need more paint, of course. So just try and go around your surfboard the best you can. I'm going to come all the way down into the middle here because I'm going to bring my water line down. So I'm coming all the way down there like that. Same with this one. I'm going to try and even that out by just going along. Oops. Doesn't matter if you get different tones of blue or green in there. That's fine. You can always cover it with some white waves when we do the waves. So it's not a problem. Lovely. That's a really nice colour. I like that. Hope you found your brushes, Sonia. Okay. Now I'm going to get lighter now because I'm coming up to the water's edge. So I'm just adding some white and I'm going to dab a bit more. Oops, let me go around here first. I'm going to get some white and I'm going to do some dabbing motions more than I am painting. So when I come to the water's edge, it's not going to look perfect. So just dab it. You can bring that line down a bit more if you want, but it can be rough. It doesn't need to be perfect. So I might go over that again with some white. So it's because I've gone up to there with that sort of lighter tone, I'm going to go between my surfboards a little bit too. Again, it doesn't have to be, it can just be a little. Like so. Whoops, got into my fence. Oh dear. Let's just look that up. Okay, so the waves. So for the waves, I am going to pick up just white. So I don't want all this colour on here now. So I'm going to wipe it off on my paper. So if you've got some kitchen towel, just wipe it off. Try and get right up into your into these bits of your brush. I'm going to then dip it in the water and do it again because I want as much colour off as possible. Or you could, if you want, switch to another brush. That's probably just as well. I mean, I've got lots of brushes. I really should be switching to another brush. So if you've got my set of 7 brushes, there's a little kind of a rounded one. You can try that one, or you can go to any of them. Actually, they all work pretty well for just small stuff. I'm going to try this one first of all, or you could even go back to your small angled brush like that. So anything works for this. So again, I'm going to wet whatever brush I'm using. I need to grab some cleaner white, and for the waves, if you just run your line along like this, and then you can sort of roll it like this in the middle and then come out straight again. So you want to keep those lines straight as you possibly can, and right in the middle I'm kind of like doing a roll where the waves are rolling a little bit, because in this one they're kind of subtle, so it's not good surf weather if they're too subtle. We want them to be a little bit more rough, don't we? So you will perhaps need a bit more white on this. So I'm rolling that all the way round. Can you see how I'm rolling that all the way in like a semicircle, like it's coming back on itself, like that? And then I'm going to let that line just go off like that, because that's where it's crashing in, or the wave is starting to break. And then I'm going to, so these are bigger than what I'm doing here, but you know, that's up to you how you want to do it. If you want to do smaller ones, you can do smaller ones, but I'm going to start again with a small line before I do another crashing one, or a backwards C if you like. So so that's coming all the way round, see? Like that. And then I'm going to just leave that line again going right out off my canvas. So that's a good roll, I think. And I'm going to keep going over this with a bit more white, because the white doesn't cover perfectly well first time, unless you've got really thick paints. which usually the really thick acrylics are used by professionals. They're called heavy body acrylics. These are a little bit thinner, so they come out a little bit thinner. So I've got 2 there. I'm not sure, but in the background I might do a smaller one because it's off in the distance. So I'm going to do a smaller one. Again, I'm keeping that line straight, like that. That one isn't so easy to do with this brush, like a crashing wave there, but try my best. But if you want subtle ones, you can also do just a little line like this, if you wish, in the distance. All right, out to sea, a very small one like that. I'm going to wait for this area to dry a bit more, and then I'm going to put a little bit more white in right at the edge here. We might do that at the end. I mean, some of it's a little bit dry, so you could just, again, just do some, what I call like scalloped edge. I'm just going to make that. It's impressionistic. It doesn't have to be perfect at the water's edge. So nothing has to be perfect, of course. Waves are crashing in, that's what I say. Great! Hope everybody's keeping up okay, but if you need me to slow down, just give me a shout. As I said, I'm happy to wait. But it's not a problem. I'll just keep talking in the meantime. Hopefully I'm not driving you nuts. We're going to go to the sand next. If you do not have a sandy colour that's ready-made, which would usually be yellow ochre, so if you have my set of paints with the 10 in, you will have a yellow ochre in that, and that's that colour in the tube. If you have it, great, because you only need a very, very small amount of it to actually make a difference in the sand here. So that if you're going to squirt some out, just do a teeny tiny amount. If you don't have any of that colour, again I'm going to show you how to make a very light sort of yellowish colour with some white, yellow and a teeny tiny bit of red. It will come out a little bit different to mine, but you know, don't worry about that. It will still look like sand. I'm going to start with a very light tone here, mostly over here, before I actually add the darker yellow ochre. So for that, again, you can go back to a bigger brush if you've got one clean now. You can either go to an angle brush or a flat brush, or just any big brush really is fine. Just make sure it's clean, because this colour does not want any blue in it. So I'm giving mine a good wash off, because even if I keep doing that, I'm still getting blue. So I have to keep putting it in the water, keep wiping it on my paper until all that colour's gone. That's why it's always handy to have more brushes. Okay, let's try and make a very light colour sand by taking some white, a tiny bit of yellow, not too much, so a little tiny bit on your brush is good. It's always better to start off slowly than add too much. So I'm going to just add tiny amounts of yellow, and then again with the red I've got just a tiny bit, because if you go too far it's going to go too red. So this might be a little bit trying for younger people, but hopefully parents are on hand to help them mix. If not, I apologise. Okay, so I'm trying to come up with a very, very light tone. I'm going to try that out first of all, because it may not be perfect. So let's have a look. So it's quite light, that one. I'm going right up to the edge of where I've got my water. I'm not going into it, but I'm going right up to it. It's just a lighter tone than I'm going to bring it closer just so you can see how light that is. If you can see okay. Very light yellow tone, that one. If you want to make it darker, you can. You can grab a tiny bit more yellow in with your white. And a little, very, 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 very tiny bit of red. And you'll see it starts to come out a little bit darker now. Not much. Always best to try it on your canvas before you put too much on there, as in just put a touch of it. So it's quite a light yellow, but that's okay. If you've got the yellow ochre, that's that mustardy colour, all you need to do is take some white and put a tiny amount in with the white. I'm going to dry it up a little bit, and you'll see a sandy colour beginning to form with that. Again, you don't need much. And I'll show you. See, it comes out very, very similar in colour, so you don't need much of it. But so I'm going to start out quite light, and then I'm going to get a little darker as I go down here. So I'm going to fill all that area. I'm still getting blue off my brush, so that's where it's good to change brushes. I'll wipe that off. So again, we want clean white, so don't pick up white that's got brown or anything in, because that wouldn't be good. I'm going to make mine just so you can see how it turns out. Again, a bit more red, not too much, got a lot there. Always best to start out slow. So you can see that's got a darker tone now. You can see that's working out. Don't need to make a lot of this. It will go far if you're making sure you've got enough water at the same time. But obviously you need to mix enough to make sure you cover that area. And if you're like me, I use quite a bit of white, so I need to get a little bit more there. See, I'm coming out a little bit darker now. And the thing is, if you have to make more and it's coming out a bit darker, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. The sand is, different tones anyway, so it's not a problem. Never a problem at all. A little bit more water will make it flow, hopefully. You're going to get right down to the bottom of your canvas. Just by the way, I do have a lot of canvases, so if you run out, do let me know. That's one thing I've been able to get hold of. I was very lucky. I think I got the last batch of some of the canvases from a supplier. So I was very, very happy about that. Got quite a few brush sets as well, so if you're in the need for some more. And paint is the only thing that's in a lot of demand, so I'm trying my best to keep on top of that as well. So right where the surfboards are hitting the sand, I'm going right up into my fence a bit more. So any bits that are left white, I'm going to push that right up there. I will be putting a darker tone up there eventually, but I'm just trying to cover that area. Because obviously that's in the shade a bit more. So I picked up a bit more of the yellow ochre, but if you don't have that colour, just make a bit more of yellow and red in with your white to make it a little bit darker. And as you can see, I'm trailing that darker colour like that over to the side. Okay, get a bit more of that. And right over here. That's coming out quite a strong tone colour now, but I don't mind that. That's fine with me. I'm happy with it. So just cover that up. Doesn't matter if yours is a bit darker. I think actually mine's coming out better this time than it did the first time round. Sometimes it's the other way around when I do another painting, but at this point it's good. Okay. It's coming out quite orangey now, so I think I might add a little bit more white back in. Soften it up a little bit. Try and keep what I'm doing here so you can see me. So I've got both the yellow ochre here and I've got my red, yellow and white here. So as you can see, those colours do go well. You can use either one of those. Not a problem at all. There's always ways you can mix colours without having to have them. Obviously it helps if you've got them, but it's not a big issue. I've gone quite yellow there. Now I've gone blue, see, because I've picked up the blue by mistake. If you ever, pick up a colour by mistake, just try and wipe it off as quickly as possible with a piece of cloth or wet tissue or something. It should come off quite easily. Or wait for it to dry and just go over it with a bit of white. Okay, so I'm going to get right down to the bottom here, like so. Alright, so I'm going to, as you can see, I've got a beach ball there. I'm not going to do that one till the end, so I'm going to leave that for now. Now I'm going to pick up some more of the darker orangey, yellow ochre tone. Again, I'm just going to put a bit more up into that. This is where you can actually pick up a little bit of the brown that you had made if you want to. And that will also add some tone. So like I'm adding a little bit of that brown just where the sand is hitting, because that's in the shade anyway. So, if it's a little bit darker, it's okay. But, they're sitting in the sand, so we don't want to see the bottom. I'm going to cover that one up a bit more there. And then I'm going to just add a little bit more darker colour along here where there's maybe some different variations of bumps in the sand, etc. And you can have some out here if you want some. I'm not going to do too many out there. I'm just going to bring that line out from the edge. A bit more here maybe. Like so. Okay. Ooh. It's come a little bit dry, so I'm just going to add a bit of water, a bit more white in there. Doesn't really have to be any particular neatness. It can be all over the place if you want to. I'm going to bring a little bit of that to the darker tone to the water's edge a little bit. And I'm going to leave the bit in the middle because that's where my beach ball is going to go. Voila! That's the sand done. Wonderful. Do want to make sure all this is dry before I do my kite. I've still got a little wet bit there, so I'm going to wait for you guys to catch up. How's everybody doing? Everybody okay? Give me a shout. Chat with me. Let me know. It's always good to know. Did you find your brushes, Sonia? Hopefully she did. Yeah. Right. Well, I think I'm going to do the kite next. So the kite, I'm going to do the shape of the kite first. If you guys want to do a different shape kite, please do it. Whatever shape you like. I only know this shape. My childhood days. I don't know any of the shapes, so that's terrible. So for that, I think it's best to go to a small brush because it's small detail. So I'm going to wet my very, 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 very small brush. If you've got my pack of 7, that is the smallest brush in there. I'm going to wet that. Again, I'm going to mark out the shape. So I'm going to just grab either some brown or red. It doesn't matter in this case what you mark it out with, as long as you just mark out the edge, because you can go over it with some paint anyway, so you can lose your coloured edge, but it's just so you can see where it's going. So let's see, am I dry? I'm dry up here. That's the main thing. That's where my kite is going. So I'm going to do a diamond shape kite. Hopefully you all know how to do a diamond shape. Mine's obviously coming in at an angle, so I'm going to make the bottom edge a lot longer. This is a lot bigger than that one. Like that. And I'm also going to mark out my triangle shape on it as well. So it's coming across like that. And then, ooh, I'm not very straight on that, but ooh, that's okay. I can always go over it. So that's just my shape of my kite. It's a little bit longer than that one. But you can do whatever shape you like. Anything goes. You're probably wondering how I did the actual line to it. Very, very, very gingerly and slowly. So if you've got heavy hand little kids there trying to do it, give them the very smallest brush you've got and see if they can just pretend that they're whispering the brush across the canvas. So I'm going to have a go. So it's just really lightly where you can barely see the line. In fact, what I did in this one, I broke it every now and again, which means I missed it off. I didn't actually show it because it's a very, very light line and you don't necessarily have to see it that much. So somebody is obviously off to the side with the kite. I'm not going to draw a person. But if you want to draw a person, that's up to you. Right. Next step is, I'm just going to straighten that out a little bit, my line. I don't like the line going over to the side. But that's better. While I'm doing this, I'm going to mark out the shape of my beach ball. If you want a beach ball, it's up to you. But I think this is quite dry now, so I'm going to do my beach ball with the very small brush again. If you can't do a circle, you could always grab a very small coin or something and go round it with a pencil first and then, voila, and make the shape. Okay, so now I've got that shape. Before I colour it in, I'm going to grab that brownie tone I had here to give it a shadow underneath. So I'm going right underneath it like so, and bringing out the shadow. You can bring it into a sort of any shape you want really. Mine's just a rough shadow there coming out from underneath the ball like that. And don't forget on the kite, I've got some little trailing bits there with little flag bits on. So if you want to do that bit as well, don't forget that. And I'm going to just have them come down like so. Like that. Okay. No problem at all. Okay. This is where we get to start painting things and making them all pretty. So first of all, I am going to do this first before I move on to my circles because I want those to be last because that's more fun, right? So depending on what colours you'd like to paint your kite, if you ever want to use a light colour, I would add a little bit of white in it. So if I'm taking yellow on my brush, I'm going to grab some white because it actually covers a lot better if you have a little bit of white in with it. So I'm going to do that. Let's see, that comes out a little bit green. That's not good. But let's see. Well, that's not too bad actually, now I've said that. If you go over your brown lines, that's fine because you don't necessarily have to see your brown lines. So I've done one bit yellow. I might just do a yellow and white flag actually. And I'm going to do the other side here also. Yellow. And I think I might also do yellow and white mix. Little, well, they're like little bows really. They sort of, it's like a dot each side. And actually I like that because it shows up, because mine's coming into the water. It's not as high as that one, so I can actually see that. I think I'm going to do yellow and red. So I've got the yellow done. You can dive straight in with red. Again, I'm using the very small brush, but any small brush will do. And I'm going to go straight into that side with the red. No mixing required for that one. Just need to be slow and get it in the middle of the lines. That's why I always paint the lines, because it's easier to paint inside the lines than not have a line to go by. But you can always paint over them. Yay! So I've got a yellow and red kite. I think I'm going to do the same with my little bits coming off here. Little dots. I'm going to bring it up just quickly so you can see. So just a little kind of a bow, I don't know what you want to call it, a dot each side. I'm just coming down with that one. That's how I've done mine. No particular way, but yeah, I mean that one's swinging out a bit, which actually, you know, the wind's blowing it, so that's how it is. Oops, stop messing with it. Gotta stop messing with it and making it worse. Okay. Well, I'm happy with that. As for your beach ball, you can, again, paint it whatever colour you like. I think for me, I kind of like the stripes, but I'm going to paint it red, I think. And then I'm going to decide to maybe, once it's dry, add a pattern to it. So it's just going to be a red beach ball. All right. I think I might do dots or something on it. I don't know, you know. I'm going to think about that one. Get it a nice round shape. There you go. It's not perfect, but, you know, it's fine. Right. How's everybody doing? With these surfboards, this is the exciting bit because I've got some really cool designs. So while you're just painting your little bits there, I'm going to put up my designs for a minute. Hopefully you can see them. I'm going to do this fun wave one here for everybody to copy if you want to. Obviously you can copy the ones I've got there if you want, but I have some geometric shapes here. This one's got flowers on it. This one's got a rainbow. There's some blue lines there. You know, this is your surfboard, so you can paint it whatever colour you want or any tones you want. I'm going to do this one because I think it's kind of cool. So I'm going to first of all paint the black lines that they show there first. So it's like a big wave on the bottom. So you can go up, down, flying around. Again, I'm using a very small brush because it's easier to get the shapes. But if you've got any little heavy hands there, you might want to do simple colours. You can do it one colour and then wait for it to dry and put dots on it or stripes on it or anything like that. But I just kind of think this one is really cool because it looks like a fish, which is neat. I'm going to do that one there. So just like a smiley face and a smiley face joining up with each other. Right, so that's got that done. A little bit of water in my brush and back in that paint because it's just a little bit dry, so that will just help it to be neaten up any edges if you want to. So actually I'm going to bring it up a bit more, I think. Or should I? Actually no, I'm not, because the fish is, that's like it's like it's scales, but it's actually also like waves, so I think it's kind of neat. I'm also going to do the eye there, or supposed eye, or whatever it is just there. I'm just going to do a round dot, I think, so I'm going to put it about here. Just a little round circle. I'm going to leave the middle of it just white. And it won't be white because I'm actually going to do the orange. Now this surfboard has a line down the middle. You know, you can do a line if you want to. I don't think I'm going to do a line on this one because it's just easier to paint without drawing more lines, right? We don't want to do more lines. No more lines. Okay. That's my first design. This is what I'm going to do. Before I actually colour the whole surfboard, I'm going to mark out, let's see. I think I'm going to do this easy one here because this one here has got like 2 black lines and 2 orange lines coming down the middle. So I'm just going to do the black lines first. Oops. Or I just might make it up as I go along. Why not, indeed? So I'm going to do a line down there like that. I'm making sure I've got enough water on my brush before I put it in the paint because otherwise it won't go on very easily. Alright, so just done a line like that. Of course, if you want to follow this one, you can. I'll take this down once I've got mine done and then you can decide how you want to do it. You can wait until I've done mine if you want before you do your own. I think actually I'm not going to do it the same as that. I'm going to be rogue and I'm going to do another line like that. This is the fun bit. We like having fun. It's cool when you can design your own things, isn't it? So I've got 2 lines like that on that one. I've decided to do my own thing. And I think on my last one I might do some flowers. Yes, why not? So I'm going to still use the black. The reason why is because I know it's going to stand out really well if I just paint over it. So I'm going to do what they call Hawaiian flowers, which sort of big petals like that. This one's kind of off, but if you want to put one right in the middle, you can. That one looks like it's just leaving the surfboard, but I think I might do one here that's not leaving the surfboard, so to speak. Big petals, so big round ones like that. About 5 is good. You can manage that. I'm going to put a dot in the middle, like that. And then I'm going to do just a line in the middle of my petals, like that. Again, just keep putting your little brush back in the paint or the water and then the paint, just so you've got the flow. Hello!
I'm back.
She's back! We're getting there. We're on the last bit.
Cool.
So there's my fun designs, and I'm going to then just paint the designs the colour I want. If you want to do more detail on, you can. You know, this is entirely up to you. If you want to do some stripes down, that again is up to you, but sometimes simple is just as well. I think actually on the end of this one, I've decided, because I just love playing, I want to put a circle. And I want to put a circle on the end of that one. I don't know, I just feel like it. This is up to you. So while you guys are catching up and deciding what you want to do, I'm going to just take that out of the way a minute so you can see the other ones. I'm going to leave that to dry. So I'll let you guys catch up. Hopefully you're all catching up. I'm going to make an orange in advance for my top part here. And then I'm going to make sort of a light blue for the bottom part. So to do so I'm just going to talk a lot first while you catch up. Any brush again, small brush is probably the best, whatever works. You can get around the edges, okay? Obviously to make an orange, a light orange, you want some yellow and some white. Of course, I've run out of white, so I'm going to get a little bit more white. I'm going to do actually a little bit of white, not too much in with my yellow, because I don't want it to go salmon pink. So I'm just going to put a little bit of white in with my yellow, and I'm going to grab, again, a little bit of, we'll see how dark that goes. That's quite a dark orange, actually. No, I think that's probably okay. So I'm going to get a little bit more water so that I can make it ready to go on. And I'm going to try that out. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, it's not bad. That's pretty good orange. So it'll look like a fish. So I'm using the small angled brush. As I said, whatever works for you is fine. The reason why you can get to the edge quite easily with the small angled brush. So I'm going to go right down to this line on this one. So it looks like the fish's head. Sounds like a pub, the fish's head. No, probably not. Don't think there's a pub called the fish's head.
Just thinking of the nag's head.
Nag's head, yeah. Bull's head.
Queen's head.
Queen's head. I wonder why they name all the pubs somebody's head. I have no idea. Maybe somebody could fill me in on that one. I've gone over my eye, as you can see, because I can still see it, which is good. I might go over it again afterwards just so it'll show up a bit more. But I'm going right up to that first fish scallops edge, like so. If you want it more orangey, you can just add a bit more red in with your yellow, and that will make it a brighter tone. I'm just doing the same thing here, just adding a bit more red in because I kind of like it a little bit darker. Okay, there's my orange. Then for my bottom of my fish, I'm going to make a light blue. I'm going to clean that brush up because I want to use it good and proper in the water and then wipe it on the paper. To make a light blue, I'm going to do it the way around that I think is best, which is grab a, if you want it a different colour, by the way, you know, you choose. You might want a green tail, I don't know. This, of course, is sort of supposed to be water, I guess, or a cross between a fish and waves going in on the fish. If I can get my blue out, that'd be great.
You paint
Huh?
paint on your elbow.
On my what? Oh, do I? No, I have paint on my elbow, apparently. That's not unusual. So I'm going to take a little bit of blue, a little bit of white, because I want quite a light blue for this one. Okay, and I'm going to paint. Again, if you want to go gingerly between your wave effect lines, then do so. Which I'm going to, then I won't have to paint over the black again. If you've got a very small brush, of course, that's the easiest thing. I just like to make it difficult for myself by having this one, but slowly up into those. This is where you wish you'd made bigger surfboards and it would be easier to go between your lines. And then finally the bit at the bottom. Yay! I like that. It's kind of fun. I'm going to go over my little eye here afterwards, I think. This one I think I'm going to do just one tone. So let me decide what colour. What would be a good colour that goes with orange? Because I like them to sort of match a little bit. I think this one's going to be a red. Definitely a white with red, that one. The middle one, I think I'm going to stick to a blue tone. So I'm going to take a little bit of the blue, again with the white, and I'm just going to make it the blue tone. As I said, this is your choice. But sometimes it's good to sort of have a little bit of one colour in each board so that it sort of goes well together. Yes, I like that. That's good. Again, it doesn't matter if you go over your little circles. You can always go back over them when you've got your blue done. So don't worry if you have gone over them. Go back in and do it again. Right. So if I didn't already tell you, this video will be up for 24 hours before I take it off. So you'll be able to go back in the next 24 hours and re-look at it, or just sit there, you know, after we've finished today and keep playing with it or keep rewinding it and until you've finished. A little bit more blue. We'll recommend if you you know poured a lot of paint out onto your plate or palette, if you've got a lot left at the end and it's clean, try and put it back into your. You perhaps can't if it's a tube, I understand, but it's always good to keep it for another time. Reuse it, I should say, if it's clean, rather than waste it. So I've just gone around my little circles and I've left them white. So I don't mind that. So I'm going to leave that white. So that works for me. There's some bits there. And then on my last one, I'm going to do it red. But I'm going to do red. Should I do red flowers or should I do red and white board? I think I'm going to do a red board and leave my flowers white. Because actually, if you see on this one, that one's got a kind of a red board with kind of white flowers. That one, of course, is different, but that's fine. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to wash my brush off again, grab the red, because I've got lots of red here. I have no issue with pouring out enough red. But I hope you guys are doing your own thing and your own designs, because I want to see it. It'd be fun. And another top tip, if you can't get the paint back into a tube, for instance, and you've got a plate or a palette, if you get some cling film and put it over the top, like just spray it maybe with a bit of water or sprinkle some water on your paint, put a bit of cling film over the top, it should keep, quite tightly. It should keep for at least a day or so. So give you time to finish your painting, maybe, if you don't want to do it all today. If you get tired and you want to, finish it tomorrow. And, did I get my elbow in that again? Got my sleeve in it the other day, so I realised not to wear long sleeves when I do this. Or just wear really old clothes. Forgot to tell you that. Yes, an apron would be good. Old clothes. That's why we give aprons out at our events when we have outside events, pub events. Right. I think this one's looking kind of cool with the flowers. Very Hawaiian. Wouldn't it be nice to be in Hawaii right now? Well, as long as you can go on the beaches, it would be anyway. With our surfboards.
Can you
and
surf?
Our Hawaiian tropic sunscreen and pina coladas. Well, if your kids no pina coladas, just a pineapple juice. Right, getting in between the flowers is tricky, but if you've got a small brush, you should be able to do it. Just take your time, no rush. Nice and quiet in here. Sing us a song, Anya.
No.
She's too shy. I would sing one, but I'm a terrible singer.
No, I heard you doing a bit of singing earlier.
Trying to think of a good seaside tune.
Richard knows one.
I'm sure Richard does, doesn't he, Sonia? I'm sure he knows lots of seaside tunes. Beach tunes.
No, you know his one about the sun. He likes that one.
Wouldn't it be nice?
No, that's another beach one.
Beach Boys. Yay! I like that. Yay! You know what I'm going to do? I think we're going to make these dots red now I've looked at that. Because then it ties in that colour with that one. I always like to have one colour to go from that to that to that. Yes. Now I want to do something with my ball. What can I do with my ball? Gonna not use that big one now, or a bigger one. I'm gonna go back to my very small one to get some detail on my ball, and I might just do some dots, white dots, some kind. Circles. So I've got a spotty ball. They're not really perfectly round circles, so I'm not too bothered about that. It's just the effect. Yeah, that kind of stands out. I like that. And you know what will also stand out is if I actually do the middle of my eye here, white. We're rocking and rolling now, aren't we? I'm going to do my final touch-up over my black here. Because I'm sure you're still working on your surfboards, right? Just go back over my lines so they stand out a bit more. That's better. Back over my outside of my eye, so to speak. That's better too. Just straighten up that line. This is where you can go back and do little touch-ups if you wish. I'm not sure I like my yellow here, so I'm going to make that yellow orange. This is where, you know, you can change anything at any time that you wish. I'm doing that just because I've got no other yellow in my painting, and I just think, you know, I just want it to sort of match the other one. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it orange instead. I might not like it, but whatever. This is where you just try whatever you like and see what works for you.
Polka dots.
You like that?
Looks like a mushroom.
A mushroom?
Yeah, you know, like the
My beach ball, she said, looks like a mushroom.
No,
How dare you?
you know the red ones with the like white dots on top?
Yes, it does kind of look like a mushroom. But I don't care, I like it.
No, it's
so I'm
cute.
going to leave it as it is.
Wow.
It kind of goes a little bit better with what I'm trying to do here. So because I've done that, I'm also going to change the little bits on there. I want those a little bit lighter. So as I said, this is where you can change it up, do whatever you wish. I'm actually going to do a round circle in my red, because I want to. Isn't it fun when you can do what you like? Do you like that? While you're still playing with whatever you're doing at the moment, I'm sure you're still on your surfboards, because you're probably trying to decide what you want to do, right? Again, if you want me to put that up, I did put it on the Facebook page, so if you do not see this, then you can go to the Facebook page and you'll see a copy of this, because I put it on there so you could have a choice of different styles of surfboard. So if you didn't get it now, you can catch up. Yeah, so that's up to you. Where you see my waves are still a little dull, so this is where I like to touch up a little bit afterwards as well, is I put a bit more white on my waves and it brightens it up, see? So that is my final bit though. Hope everybody's not too far behind, but as you know, you can stop it and watch it back at your leisure. That's the good thing about this. I'll put that in. Yes, you see how that stands out a lot more now. I've put some more white on it. And there's one too. That's a lot better now. And this is where this coming in here is kind of rough, so you can just make it as rough as you like. I'm using up my white pretty quick here, so that's where you always need a lot of white. All right. I'm happy with mine. Hopefully you're happy with yours. While you guys are all still painting, because I'm sure some of you are, I do want to run through a couple of things. I will be doing next Saturday at 2 p.m. a painting called The Magic Tree. Please look on the Facebook page for the Social Canvas UK. Also on the website at www.eclipsepainting.com. thesocialcanvas.co.uk, and you will see what's coming up. I've got some really good ones coming up. As I said, I have the magic tree next week, which actually I'm still working on. I'm going to do more swirls on it and more curly branches. And that's at 2 p.m. same time next week. And then on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, for those that want to do something a little bit more of a scenery come impressionistic painting, I'm going to bring this in here for you to have a look as well. This one is called Japanese Blossom. As you can see, there's a lot of blossoms in here with a lovely river and a real Japanese style bridge. I'm going to just bring that up to the big one for a minute, so excuse me just for a second while I bring it over. You can see it here. This is a lovely one. It's one of my favourite ones, and the colours, the colours are just beautiful. So I hope you can join me on Tuesday for that. That's at 7:30 p.m. Check in at 7:20. And all those are available to look at online, again, on the website or on the Facebook page. So, yeah, I hope you can join me. And also, if I can just mention, for us to get more people to watch the videos and everybody to join in, and, you know, please below, as you can see below on the screen, there is comments. Please make comments, and you know, we'd love to have some feedback on what you thought about the painting. And also on the Facebook page, I would love to see all of your paintings. So please put them on. And I am going to say goodbye, au revoir, arrivederci, sayonara.
Okay.
We'll see how many languages I'm going
Yeah,
on.
that's right.
And I will see you hopefully next Saturday or on Tuesday. Goodbye.